There's a component in excavators that can double the digging range. It allows for both uphill and underwater operations, while also increasing the load capacity. This is the excavator's front-mounted grab bucket. The grab bucket is a specialized tool used for loading bulk materials with a lifting device. It's often used at ports and docks for unloading ships. However, it's not very common to see it installed on excavators. However, making this kind of tool is not simple either. It requires using steel plates that are about 2 centimeters thick as the main material shape, which are then cut to specific dimensions one by one. Once the cutting is complete, you end up with several pieces of metal steel plates that are uniform in size. After that, workers will check both sides of the steel plates to avoid any uneven cutting. Next, they began to bend the metal steel plate. Under the pressure of several tons, the steel plate bent easily, without any effort. But there is a question. Have you ever wondered whether bending a steel plate will change the toughness of a steel structure? Here I would like to tell you that theoretically, the structure in the middle of a steel plate will not change when it is bent, but the stress on the outside will increase when it is under tension, and the inside will shrink. Therefore, if the bending degree is not large, the inner layer of the steel structure will not be damaged. Next, we start welding around the edges. First, we do some spot welding to hold everything in place, preventing any dimensional deviations during the moving process. The overall welding will be carried out after all the points are fixed. Judging from the surface welding points, it should not break after 10 or 8 years of use. The fully armed workers began to grind and polish the welding points. The set of movements was smooth and flowing. At first glance, this was a highly paid master craftsman. After all, it is difficult for a newcomer to hone his spark to such a high level. After the polishing process, the color of the metal has changed significantly. Polishing is the process of grinding the metal surface, mainly using metal particles to remove surface oxidation, achieving a cleaning effect. The benefit of polishing is that it can extend the lifespan of the material. To prevent rust and corrosion, a painting process is also necessary. The paint is applied in 2 layers, and the layer shown in the video is equivalent to the primer used on cars. Set it aside and wait for it to dry. Now we officially move on to the machining phase. This process mainly involves using a cutting tool to machine the shaft, ensuring that the shaft is more securely fixed during operation. The cutting is completed in a blink of an eye. At this time, the grab has a general shape and is ready to be transported to the front to install the cutting sleeve. The sleeve is a protective device for the rotation of the cutting shaft, mainly to reduce the friction of the cutting shaft and avoid wear. First, install the sealing ring on both sides. Next, we place the bushing, which is at -20 degrees, into the shaft hole. This step mainly utilizes the principle of thermal expansion and contraction to minimize any damage during installation. Additionally, heating the workpiece itself can help reduce any blockage that might occur during installation. Next, we start painting again. With these 2 layers of paint, even under